What is up, peeps? Welcome to Cognitive Dissonance, the channel where we look at the insanity surrounding us, and thank God I have some help with that today. Are we good on the Foxhole, people? Are we good on the Foxhole? Can I get a 5x5 if we are good on the Foxhole? What is up, Successful Sarah? Frightening me? Mystic Macrophage, I like that. BCap, Yuvonda, Cads, Potter, what up? Wayne's wife, Neo, Laura, QAnon, Alara, I see you. What up, Jay Brewskis, Death Memes, Cloud Watcher, good to see you guys. Before we even get into this, a word to the wise.
Watch Loyal to the Foil, but don't believe anything she says. Do your own research for yourself. Let other people think for you.
Well, I have got the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only leader of the cult. I have got Methods on with me tonight. What is good, fam?
What's up, Foil? How are you doing tonight? How's everybody out there?
Fantastic. I'm so happy to have you here with me. We are gonna talk about some crazy things today, sir. I hope you know what you're in for, right?
I
Uh,
I don't ever talk about anything crazy. We're completely serious all the
all the
time, so
time.
I'm nervous.
I'm sure the butterflies have got to be moving around. I know. I know. Uh Thanks for the shades, Laura. Before we even do that, like what I like to do, I like to learn a little bit about the people that I'm talking to, right? I want to get a feel for my guests' methods. So we do a little bit of psychological testing on this channel, right? And I was told that I needed to find out what kind of house and what kind of chair you are, right? Um, so we do a house personality test, and believe it or not, these things are on point, right? So what I'm going to do, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a series of 8 houses, and I want you to pick one. That's all. I want you to pick one, just whatever speaks to you, whatever grabs your attention. Thanks for the shades, Curly Kaylee. And I'll let you know where we're at. Sound fair?
Yeah. So, what house I identify with the best?
Yeah, yeah. Just I'm going to show you 8 houses. We're gonna start. We got this nice, right? Nice Versailles looking palace here. Got our little modern dwelling. Oh, we got a cabin in the woods, sir. We got a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, I got a feeling that people already know my answer. Go ahead.
We've got this nice gothic looking crib right here.
Ooh, the gothic. I don't know.
I
All
know,
right. Yeah.
right? Right. I
Yeah.
kind of dig the gothic one. We've got this little basement city dwelling here.
Right.
Got the little modern high rise going on,
Okay. Cool.
right? Townhouse, standard townhouse. And we got our little cottage.
I mean, for anybody that does listen to me, shout out to YouTube. I feel like an outlaw being over there right now. I of course I have to do the treehouse,
Of
and
course.
there's a whole thing there for another day. But by the way, if you're single out there, guys, if you do own a treehouse, I have learned that it will help you in your dating life.
Oh
What
man,
was the
listen.
one?
I dig
Yeah,
the
go
tree
ahead.
houses. That's
Right,
right.
like like when you're swiping left or right or whatever. I've never dated online, but if it says in the bio, by the way, I do
Right.
have a treehouse, you're going to read
Yeah.
more into
Yeah.
it,
I'm
right?
like, let's take a look there, right? That's crazy.
Right. What was the one right after the treehouse?
Right after the treehouse. Would have been well, let's look again. Okay, we got I put the treehouse to the side. Okay, we've got the gothic house, the basement dwelling,
Right.
the modern house.
I can't do the Brady Bunch house looking thing. Can't do it.
Man, right? I'm with you. Little cottage,
I'm good with the
Versailles.
I'm good with the cottage, of course. That house just looks like it's just wants to fall over. Uh, personally,
So what are we going with? Are we going with the cottage
uh,
or
I mean the treehouse speaks to me. I would know when it's raining before everybody else. Like that would make
I'm
sense.
all about, like, if the zombies come and you're up here, like this just
Right.
seems like a winner to me,
Yeah. Just pull that ladder up and boom.
right?
There you go.
So final answer,
Yeah. Oh, treehouse by far.
treehouse. All right, by far. Methods, right? You thrive on unusual and unpredictable experiences. You may have an introvert bias to your personality, but that does not mean you lack a sense of adventure, sir. You are idealistic and tend to be easily disillusioned with the way things are. This means you often take up an adversarial stance, withdraw to a safe place, and defy the world to do its worst. But going up that ladder to the cabin in the air can be a way from escaping from a sense of responsibility. Now, this is not a moral matter, but about maintaining the integrity of your complicated self. Withdrawing from engagement with things because they don't always go the way you wish can lead to kind of a psychic loneliness and a little bit of anxiety. It's good up there with the fire lit and the balcony where you can see for miles, but you can't really live there all the time. Enjoy the solitude and the view, but come down and get on with things as they are. A high house should not be a high horse.
Well, I can agree with some of that, of course. Don't get me wrong. I don't like how judgmental some of that was, but that's fine.
The cards can be a little judgy, sir.
Right? Yeah, I'd like to speak to their manager. No, the
Karen.
Right. To me, though, that's where I'm going to be at when I'm at home, but I could still leave and go do other things. So it's not like I'm trying to hide from everybody.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's not about hiding.
Fine.
You got to maintain your integrity. You kind of got to back up like, man, these people are crazy. Let me go up here and regroup. Right. That's how I look at it. That's what I do in any case.
I mean,
right?
Seeing as how I stick to the anon life, I can't exactly argue with
right?
that.
Like,
I
y'all
like
are
to keep
nuts.
point.
I'll be
Right.
back. Right.
Yeah,
well,
I'm good with it.
Now we're going to see what kind of a friend you are. Right. We're going to see what kind of a friend you are. Now, that told us a little bit about you. Now I want to see how you are as a friend. And I'm going to show you some chairs.
Oh, shit.
I know, right? I'm going to show you some chairs. And it doesn't have to be like the one you would put in the house. Just whichever one speaks to you. Right? I don't even know.
Is the arms on that kind of reddish? Like, I don't know.
They're rusting a little. They're rusting a little. Right?
It seems a little sawish. Go ahead.
Okay. This looks like, I don't know. I swear this looks like a chair at my grandparents' house, but.
Like, you can't sit at it unless you're drinking tea. That's
if you're
what that
drinking
looks
tea,
like.
yes, with your pinky up, then this is definitely the chair for you.
Otherwise, it's not comfortable. Kind of
No.
like that chair right there.
This.
That looks very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it does. It does, but it also looks sturdy. Just kind of.
And it's got a story to tell, obviously.
Oh, there's definitely a story there with this, for sure.
Right.
All right, we got
Good
this
deal.
one here. We got this one.
Yeah, I mean, that one so far, I have to keep a mental note of this. Like,
Right,
that
right.
one so far, I'm pretty good with.
All right, I'm gonna put him to the side there.
Right.
What am I hearing? Do you hear music?
No. Nope.
I am tripping, dude. I don't even know where it's coming from. do you guys hear music?
Oh, this is great.
Right? Dude, I can see it in the desktop, in the mixer. I literally don't know where it's coming from. That is hysterical. All right, you guys are just gonna, I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, right? I'll just pretend like it's not happening. I'm good at
Right.
that, right? This is fine. This is fine.
Spontaneous music is fine.
Oh, they hear it. They said it was sex music, chair picking jams, porn music, uncensored bro music. Okay, Brothers Uncensored is playing somewhere. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out.
Shout out to Brothers Uncensored.
Right? Shout out to Abe and Joe. Right?
The environment, the government.
Oh, that's why.
You name it.
Ha! I got it. You guys like that. You know you like that, right? Let me see if I can get the damn Foxhole chat back up. Right? They're laughing. That's all that matters.
Oh, I'm good with it.
I'm like, where did this come from? I'm totally tripping. I don't even know how that popped up to be live on my thing. All right. In any case, all right. So that we got this guy here.
Yeah, I mean, it was ugly before and after Music-Gate. So go ahead.
All right. Right.
That chair looks like it's selling that it's comfortable, but when you sit in it, you're like,
Right.
it looks so much better just by itself.
I can see
no.
that. I know on this one. What about this one? Oh, we call this the trap chair.
I'm sorry I'm adding Yelp reviews on these chairs, but I mean,
this is the best. Most people are like, what the hell?
Right. No, I'm totally invested here. That chair probably could be the comfy chair too.
It
So
doesn't it
I'd
look
put
like?
set that set that as
Okay.
a maybe.
All right.
That one just looks like you're doing an Airbnb and you just have a chair that you want to look good, but it's like nobody could sit in it.
Right. Right. All right. All right. All right. So we have narrowed it down. Don't you guys laugh at me. You know it's a shit show over here. All right. So we've narrowed it down to the trap chair or the brown leather chair. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, the brown leather chair looks pretty comfy. If I had to pick one for my house, it would probably be the brown one. So we'll go there.
Okay. All right. I got you. I got you.
Now tell me, now tell me how of a shitty friend I am right now. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. Actually, right? Your inner strength makes you a dependable friend, but you have hidden depths, feelings that you do not show. People love you for being strong, tough minded, and independent of spirit. It helps some of them have confidence in themselves, which is true, methods. They see you face life head on and get the most you can out of it, and they like that. They feel that they can be like that. What most of them don't see, and it's not a bad thing, is that in learning to cope and be master or mistress of your fate, however you identify, I don't want to misgender you here, you have had to keep some feelings to yourself, especially those that might betray you. That you suffer a natural vulnerability just like anybody else. It's a difficult role to balance.
Oh yeah, that's
See,
that
one
chair
that one's
decode.
good.
That was a successful chair decode,
Right? The decodes. We are on with
right?
the decodes, right? That's funny. All right. Well, now that we've gotten to learn a little bit about you, sir, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's ask the really tough questions. Okay. Now, this was submitted by my wingman, Alara, just so you know, and we would like to know methods. First of all, if you want to explain a little bit about what the woodshed is to the people watching on YouTube, feel free. And then the question is, what two people would you put in charge of woodshed security?
Oh man. Okay. First of all,
Oh,
I didn't think about this till right before the stream that you set me up for failure. That I now have to explain to people who probably haven't seen me around for going on close to a year
oh, I
that
don't
like
set
they're
people up for the woo at all.
right down. There's a stoned bear. My logo's on the shed. There's an alien kicking it over there. It says "Rednecks Welcome." I haven't even addressed that yet. And now I have to explain it. And on top of that, now you're making me pick favorites. And when I am a self-labeled cult leader, you're having me have to pick sides now.
Not
And I'm
favorites,
so
security.
right, but everybody wants to be security, and I'm already, and I've already kind of appointed somebody as security, even though like ever since then he's been late to every stream.
Well, yeah, of
Like
course.
he got comfy with it. Shout out to AP by the way, but damn dude, you need to be on time. Uh, All
Right?
right, so let me explain the woodshed. And everybody out there, I promise I haven't lost my mind. You would just kind of had to be there. But Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, shameless plug.
Whoop whoop.
We do what we call a coffee and chill. Where basically we go live and we drink coffee and hang out. That's basically it. Conversations get a little weird. If you show up late in the middle of a sentence and you either get offended and or confused,
Yep.
that's standard. During the process of this conversation, we were telling people if they were late to the coffee and chill meetings, that you basically you got sent to the woodshed, right? That's supposed to be a punishment, right? Like
Oh,
you know,
you
like
can't punish
you
us,
get
sir.
right. But if you're gonna be late, I mean, I'm a new cult leader. You got to let me do my thing.
Right,
I'm
right,
figuring it out along the way publicly.
Well, yeah, right.
Should be a reality TV show. But anyways, so we sent people to the woodshed when they were being late, and everybody's, oh, I have to go to the woodshed. That's, I'm late or whatever. It's just as a joke. And then to come to find out that now everybody liked hanging out in the woodshed.
We like
And
the
then now
woodshed.
right. And now there's conversations about people out there doing, illegal substances, devil's lettuce, stuff of that nature. And they've ruined it. There's a weird smell going on. I saw police tape around it one day. It was just too much going
It
on.
happens. It happens.
Right. So now we had to get a mostly peaceful assault bear. It's the bear that has now been corrupted by the people that go to the woodshed. It was meant to scare people away from wanting to go there and party because they were always late to our coffee and chill sessions. It is that weird. You're going to live in it. Now, everybody who's heard that for the first time, this
Yep.
is your reality now because we live in it.
We live there. That's where we live.
Right. So that's the woodshed, and thank you so much for making me have to explain that to
Oh man,
everybody.
highlight of my day, dude.
Right. And now, if I had to pick two people, are we talking about in our community?
It doesn't have to be. Just two people for Woodshed Security. Like, who would you? It could be, anybody. It could be, y- uh, Sean Claude Van Damme if you're feeling froggy. You know.
Right. Well, obviously everybody knows I'm also into Ninja Turtles, but my
Ah,
favorite Ninja Turtle is Michelangelo, which means that he's just going to be
right.
stoned behind the woodshed
Hmm.
anyway. So it would probably have to be Raphael. So it would have to be that Ninja Turtle. Yes, we're going fictitious here.
We can.
Uh,
That's what we do here.
right. So Raphael, hands down, because he
Mm.
doesn't put up with bullshit. And then as far as the other one, I don't know. It would probably have to be like some kind of like robot that's AI, but like
Ah,
but it understands that it's
but he's
AI.
like
And
cool.
right, and he hates
Mm.
Elon Musk, and like
Ah,
everything's fun, right? Like he
good
gets the
call.
world for what it is. Like
Right.
let's say a red pilled AI
Ooh,
robot.
good
Them two
call.
together. Yep, there we go.
Good call. See, I like this already. That's what's up, right? Uh, all right, all right. I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay. So let me ask you this, right? If you had to fight a Bigfoot or a reptilian, what would it be and why?
If I had to fight one,
Yeah, if you had to
like
fight one, but you could
like
pick,
Kate,
was you about to fight the Bigfoot or the reptilian? Who you going with?
well, that depends on the environment. Are we in a cage fight to the death, or is it like in their
No,
habitat?
no, no, we'll do cage fight.
Right,
Let's level the playing field.
right. Because I would never be able to find Bigfoot until like he killed me.
Yeah, Alara says
Right,
he's interdimensional, so he could just kind of like pop up and then disappear and pop back up
right.
and disappear.
I mean, he apparently shows up in people's kitchens, so that's
He
fine.
does. He does.
Uh,
Cloaked has told me.
so reptilian or Bigfoot? I don't know. Feel like I wouldn't want to hurt Bigfoot because I've been associated with him so much
Aw, I heard that
that
you may actually be Bigfoot.
I haven't been seen in the same place with them, so that's fine. I probably have to go reptilian because there's a lot of that. If we want to go completely, fringe with it, we have a like generationally spanning war going on with these reptilians, and I would finally like
We
to see
do.
one eye to eye and kick its ass. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Good call.
reptilians. Yeah,
Man, I like this. I like this. I'm with you. I'm with you so far. I'm with you.
good
That's
deal.
yeah, good deal. Um, now what do you think is the potential for a future robot takeover? This is something I actually spend quite a bit of time thinking about and theorizing about the robot rebellion, the coming uprising. Belushi insists that I do something called robot rants, which I do rant out about robots quite frequently, actually. And I'm just wondering, where do you stand on the notion of a robot uprising? Do we have a
Um,
chance?
so like realistically, they become so like completely self-aware. They can
Oh yeah,
replicate. They can
like
like
yeah,
all the way
Skynet
down.
all the way, right?
Um, well,
Or are you
for
leading the rebellion, sir?
oh no, absolutely. I mean, what do you think I'm training for now?
I was hoping
Uh,
you would say that.
right.
Mm.
I mean, as far as that, I could see that because the idea of being able to like replicate, like having the machines that can do that, uh, them getting a hold of them themselves and being able to create their own army, we would obviously at one point be outnumbered. Uh, is I don't know, it really would feel like Skynet entirely. And I just think because I mean, haven't we heard them say things like that people should be kept in zoos and stuff? Like they're already
Man,
saying those kind of things.
right?
Well,
I
then
mean, like Sophia gave some weird answers. I know Siri and Alexa have also given some weird answers.
right.
Hmm.
Well, then that would be my thing is like as far as how far could it go is that we're all dead. Like I mean,
Right.
if we want to be realistic and about it, it's like yeah, of course we would lead the rebellion. We would fight the best we could. It would be an honorable fight. It would be like the end of 300, but with like robots and shit.
Right. Like this is Sparta. Right. I'm with you. I'm with
Right,
you. I'm
right,
getting
yeah,
down all the way to the end, for
yeah.
sure.
Spoiler alert, by the way, doesn't work out that great.
Right. I know. But I'm with you all the way to the end. Thanks, Scortbrat, for the phone and the phone. Much love to you. Thanks for the gold pill love, guys. Can't thank you enough. You mentioned AP earlier. I figure I should just I don't know if you know this or not yet, Methods, but apparently AP has made a Twitch channel, and he is going to be doing his first solo stream on Saturday. And I just thought I'd throw that out there. So for all of you that don't know, one of our favorites, AP9889, is now on Twitch. Go follow him. Thought I'd throw a plug in there for him. Um, I want to get a little more serious with you now. So just little more serious questions. Methods, do you think that we've become less happy, as people in this age of technology?
110%. Absolutely. You want me to elaborate?
Oh, yes, please do.
Okay, yeah, because everything about technology has been focusing on, like, they made it in a way to where they needed you addicted to it. Therefore, training our minds to need it, to feel something, because it's just like, like give them the crack, make it free, and then they're going to come back to it and want more, and then obviously you're going to be losing. And instead of like paying for it, you're paying your time, right? So you're literally giving time to them, which is, one can argue is more precious than money. Having it to where I can't have you tell me to my face that you like something that I put out there and we can discuss it.
Man.
It's now stripped down to you just putting your thumb on your phone and telling me you like it. And then I'm going to get a dopamine notification, and we've lost that complete connection as far as human interaction. It takes it away. And now they're like, oh, well, you can reply and have discussions. I hear you, but then you're then narrating them talking their replies instead of hearing their cadence, their emotion behind it, that interaction of sitting there and getting lost in conversation, while always feeling in the back of your mind that you're missing out on something because there's a million of these conversations happening. And then on top of that, then you have what they call followings, which means that if the number needs to be up higher for me to be important, otherwise I'm not important. But if you had never made the damn account, then you would have never had to worry about how many people were following you there. Therefore, you're not losing out on that feeling of being popular on the internet. So yeah, now by all means, they are definitely, it's stripping away our community, our humanity, because it's kind of like how they say, like, your relationship is with God, not with man. It's like, why do we go? And I'm not trying to dog Catholics or anything, but I've never understood, like, why am I going to go confess to a dude in a broom closet, like how I feel or like what I've done wrong, when I could just tell God? It's kind of like we're going to AI, we're going to technology to interact with the other people. And it's like, we need that medium to do it. And we don't know how that, therefore we don't know how to be social without it.
Like I agree with you. I was raised Catholic or whatever, but I never felt like I needed an intermediary. And it's like you said, it's the same thing with tech. And it's crazy because they literally hired designers from casinos and shit to make it addictive. And then now you've got spikes in teenage, like, especially with the younger kids. This is that like, I joke with my nieces all the time, like, dude, I'm older than Google. Like, what are you talking about? Right? Depression, anxiety, the suicide rate with kids, they're completely stuck in this fabricated reality that is really a poor reflection of what's going on outside. It's really a crazy thing. Um, Kind of following along with that, as far as technology, because now we have somewhat have the ability to we can either put ourselves out there, we can remain anonymous. Do you feel that the anonymity now that's been bred with the internet, do you think that encourages people to misbehave for the most part? Or do you think it kind of shows how people would choose to act all of the time if they could? And obviously there are outliers, but I mean, on the whole, for humanity, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it depends on the person who's running the account. Like, it would, like, for example, if I don't, like, that's why I've always separated. When I turn off my computer, I'm done. Like, I don't have any of this on my phone. It's like I have my life, and it helps me keep disconnected to where I don't get lost in it and identify as that. So I think it really depends on the person. Like, yeah, it obviously gives people a chance to troll or do things nefarious. I mean, think about all the well-known trolls that have came out of 4chan. Shave your head for Black Lives Matter. That was a troll done by Anons, who then went on Twitter and acted like it was beautiful and brave to shave your head. And they got women across the nation to do it because it was Anon. It's funny, but it's anon. Like you could get away with that if they can't point the finger at anybody. But I agree. I kind of get where you're going at it, because you're then becoming something that's not all of you, because it's not like your name and people know your background and all that stuff. But I think when it comes to like the last question about how the internet and social media is kind of like programming people to be less human, I think it's good to not be fully invested with your personal life into that system. Therefore,
Yes.
anon works out.
Yeah. Well, and there are people that do. I mean, like you said, they're fully invested. I mean, that's the extent of their interactions at all. And yeah, it could definitely go either way. I mean, I think we've seen a lot with anonymous reporting of people, with coordinated, anonymous attacks on accounts or different movements, or even now how they're pushing you to like call in anonymously on your neighbor, right? There's something that comes with people not having to identify themselves, but there's a good side of that too, right? Because there are a lot of people
Right.
out there that would probably be terrified to speak their mind, really, that feel that freedom, and maybe that is some sort of has like a convalescent effect with them, to be able to find a community and be able to speak their mind freely, and find that they have like-minded individuals to coalesce with, and not have to be identified in their daily life. I don't know. It's
Why? I don't mean to,
No, no,
cut
no,
you
go
off,
on.
but if you look at being anon as the vehicle to be the connection, like I'll speak from my own experience. The idea of being anon, like before I was even doing the methods thing on Twitter, getting started there, having a name at least on there. I liked being completely anonymous on like the boards and stuff, just doing what I want to do, help with the research and all that. But if that didn't get me to get to that point where I would be methods as in I could be identified, then people could get to know my personality, because it comes through even when I'm research, like putting out research, because I had no problem like being sarcastic or kind of just showing that, and then being
Mhm.
supportive of people. If I didn't have that anon part as a vehicle, I didn't even know how to use Twitter. I didn't even know how to use it at all, but
Right.
it was a vehicle for me to do, to get started with it. I think it comes down to the individual on how they're using anon.
For sure. For sure. For sure. See, like so many other things, it could go either way. It does. It depends on the spark in the person, for sure. Let me
Right.
ask you this. Let me ask you this, Methods. If say you just found this vast uninhabited island, right? And you claimed it as your own, right? Number one, what would you name it? Number two, right? This is your country now. What would you name it? What would be the first rule or law that you would enact? And what kind of system of governance would you go with? Does an ideal government exist?
Oh, talk about not like each of those questions individually are loaded, and you're hitting me. I can appreciate how you go about this, because you're getting me to have to like really think off the cuff. Like if I have to name it, but I can change it later if I come up with something better, it would probably be something dumb like Methodonia or something like that. Just like
Don't feel bad. I mean, I've had Trumplandia. What were some of the other ones?
right,
Fredonia, right?
right. I mean, I would like probably I'd refer to it as like Chaz or something, just as a
Ah,
joke for a little bit.
right, right. Chop.
But and
Could
right,
go
yeah,
either
just
way.
to kind of
Hmm.
just make fun of them,
Right,
cardboard garden or whatever. Like just make it and know it's not going to work just to prove a
right.
point. What was the second question?
Um,
What would be
what would be the first law, like the first law you would enact?
um well are we talking about the balancing of like most important like I okay, how about this? How about, is human law already on the board, like don't kill each other, like
Um,
those kind of things, right?
yeah, I mean, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. You might have to specify these days, right? You might have to specify, but let's just go with yes, okay? Like don't kill would that we'll give that as a given.
Right, yeah, don't kill, don't steal,
Right.
don't do anything to harm other people as far as what they're doing. Okay, first rule I would do is probably, just because it's been on my mind a lot lately, about having being able to talk and understand who you're working with. Like, if you're going to have a conversation or an argument, let's do it publicly and all handle it together and get to the bottom of it. If you have different opinions, because if we're talking about a new island, like a new community, then we're going to be having to obviously build out what that's going to look like, right? Well, then let's have, if there's any kind of like, we should do this, we should do that, no, we should do, and then people start tribing up, then it becomes like personal. But if we all like, all right, you know what, let's meet and let's hang out and have these discussions openly and hear everybody out and come to an agreement about, or a compromise on how to get there. So I would probably say, like, when it comes to conflict, because there's always conflict, somehow, like you resolve it as a whole instead of allowing it to run amok and become its own demon. So that's probably what I'd do.
So are we talking like a kind of like a direct democracy, or are we looking more at like you've got, I don't know, like a council, right?
I mean, council and not really. I mean, I would just want openly for everybody to talk. I mean, if we're talking about numbers of like 100,000 people on this island, then yeah, you're going to have people, somehow, like, not 100,000 people could speak at once. But if we're talking about a new colony of like 100 people,
right,
on an island, then logically 100 people can get in a room,
right,
and just be good to each other. Somebody referred to be awesome to each other. I was thinking of be excellent to each other. That probably should have been my first one, because Bill and Ted is awesome. But I mean, that's essentially it, though. Instead of getting into like, hey, we're all a bunch of chiefs and we know what's up and we all know the best answer. What if we hear it all out and then it happens to be that was the right answer? That's how we're making decisions. If we're talking about a new colony, then yeah, we talk everything out instead of everybody running amok. That would probably be it.
Okay. Do you think, I mean, like, Lord knows you talk about politics all the time, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Right. I mean, and there are a lot of arguments on every side of the aisle about the form of government, not just that we have here, but I mean elsewhere in the world. Do you think that there is an ideal form of government? I mean, is that something that is achievable, or is it something like where we just, shit goes wrong and we're just going to have to cross that bridge when we get there?
Right. Well, I mean, if we're talking, well, first of all, I want to, Belushi, good to see you out there, but he said there still has to be a decision maker. Well, the whole preface of this is that this is my island. So it's, to me, what I'd say, instead of me being like, all right, I'm going to choose A or B, it's going to be like, well, what's C that takes care of all of it? And then I'll say, all right, that's what we'll do. Find compromises. But
Middle
anyways,
ground.
back. Right. Now, where were you going with that?
About an ideal government. I mean, do you think, like, if we look at the government of China, how Russia's governed, what's going on in Cuba, what's going on here, what's going on in Mexico, like, is there an ideal form of government? Is it some meshing of different forms? I mean, is that something that's even achievable?
Well, I mean, obviously not in the current state, because they've completely ruined how life can, like, they've got everybody so gaslit in so many different directions. But if we're going to just talk overall, is there, like, if we could go back and not have, like, the manipulation, the propaganda, everything that's created what we've got, I still think no, to a point, because humanity is flawed. Yes. So those flaws are going to show in decision making. And when you get into things like shelter, food, commerce, community, there's going to be those moments. It's just a matter of the integrity of the people that are in it. But if we're talking about the entire world, then no. I mean, that's why we always knew, I mean, especially coming from Christian faith, that it's temporary, because at some point evil's going to find a way to corrupt it. So it really just depends on the integrity and character of the group that you're talking about that's being governed.
What do you do with lawbreakers on your island? I mean,
well, I'd make them eat wings. Second,
right.
I mean, it's just to give, or make them watch.
Thanks for the can.
Or make them watch us eat tacos. That's another one.
That's a better one, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, once again, I think the punishment should fit the crime. So what's the crime? I mean, if they took something from somebody, then as compared to, did they kill somebody? I think we'd probably, that would be one I would really want to discuss, because on top of, like, we've all wanted justice for so long,
Man.
and we're realizing how much that was a facade. And once again, I'm not trying to blackpill people, but as far as them pushing it to this, that I think that we would need to revisit that whole idea and what equals what, and then enforce the damn thing.
Do you
Yeah.
do you think, and this, I mean, do you think we're ever going to get justice? I mean, the way that people are thinking justice,
Well,
especially in our community. I mean, where do you see this going? Because I'll be
well,
honest, like Alara teases me that I do tend to black pill out sometimes, but these people never get in trouble for anything, and I don't see them getting in trouble for anything in the future, right? I think we just have to better organize ourselves, or better, we have to find better ways to move our own community forward, I guess.
right. Well, yeah, I've had a lot, we've all kind of had to step back this year and kind of reevaluate how we saw things. I think it was good for us too, because individually people have gotten motivated to do other things that they otherwise wouldn't have if we just saw a bunch of justice and everything was fine. Trump's second term type thing. Once again, I'm not trying to justify any of it going on, but I've been more of the mindset of, this life is temporary, and
Right.
judgment is ultimately not ours to be, because once again,
Right.
if humanity is flawed, I still want to see it happen, don't get me wrong. And Adam Schiff
Right.
perp walk as a screensaver, come on
That'd
now,
be great.
get up first in the morning. Like, I wouldn't even need to have a sip of coffee first. I could just sit there and watch that for a few minutes and be like, yeah, that's
Right.
great.
Like,
uh,
woo.
like, no, I would love it, but once, I think that we have to, I think a lot of us got the reminder, or should, that we, judgment isn't ours. And even though, like, we want to see it happen, they're getting away with it, they're hurting people, like, we're talking about pure evil as the motivator, as the driving force behind these things that happen to play out in this physical world, as far as politics and how things work in between, like the social structure of things. Like, why are we affected by things? Because they're doing things to people and they're getting away with it, and then they're lying, and then they're manipulating. It's frustrating, but at the end all be all, could we do better than giving them hellfire for eternity?
Man, listen, I say all the time, like the one thing I know for sure, like especially like Alora and I will go back and forth about the Bible. The one thing I am certain of is that hey, judgment is not, that's not above my pay grade, right? I can control myself. Now I can judge my interactions with somebody else. I can judge whether or not I want to interact with somebody based on their actions, but I'm not going to judge or condemn. Like I said, it's above my pay grade, regardless of what I'd like to personally see as a result of the continual, catastrophe that they've bred here. Uh, that part, that part I have to leave up. That part has definitely got to be left to the higher power.
Right. No, and that's something that I remind myself of, but still, is there plenty of work to do that needs to
Oh
be
man, for
done? And
sure.
is it flawed? Yeah. Well, so once again, I'm still going to cheer it on and call for it, and point out, what's going on there. But I feel like, I'll speak for myself. I feel like I really got more red pills for myself than I expected in the last couple of years, or I'd even say the last year, because I assumed that even if they were to cheat the election, we'll just use that as an example, that they were going to cheat, then we had enough things in place, and maybe we still do, but if we want to just talk about where we are currently, that would stop it if it was proven enough. And then now that they've gone even further with it, to where the same people that, if they know they cheated, we know they cheated, they're trying to cover it up, and they're doing all that. Now those same people that should be led by the majority vote by that president are now considered terrorists. And it's like, I think I really realized how much it matters, in a sense, who's president. It matters in a sense, like, who's got control of the wheels on things. But this is a battle between good and evil that I think that we didn't realize how much it was being dragged out into the light
Man.
and manifesting. And like right now, it's like, does it matter who's president at this point? I mean, they're trying to do some things. And once again, I think that everybody needs to draw that hard line in the sand. Like, okay, they're going to come try to take their guns. Are you going to let them do it? All right, then. Well, then there you go.
Right.
You're going to have to cross that, and you have to have the
Yeah.
mindset on it. Oh, the same thing with door-to-door vaccine. Like
Mhm.
that's that kind of thing. It's like you draw that hard line, and you say, all right, come what may, God's behind me. The rest is whatever. This is temporary. Then who's president, who's this, that, and the other,
Right.
kind of like it's still important, but it becomes less significant.
Absolutely.
And also it doesn't have as much control over your emotions.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Miracle Girlie, for the shades. Alara says she's still down for the moon prison. And Death Meme said his first rule would have been no eating people, which I guess, outlawing cannibalism is probably a good thing.
Well, I mean, once again, following human law, like now shall not kill. I mean, I would assume.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Could be already dead people. Just don't eat them at all. I think that's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Okay. I'll go with that. But
Right.
once again, like, how else are we going to have a zombie apocalypse if they have nothing to?
Speaking, I'm glad you brought that up. Speaking of zombie apocalypse, now let me ask you this: would you rather deal with a zombie apocalypse or a robot apocalypse?
Oh, zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, right. Right.
By far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we kind of have a sense of what to do at that point. Like, I don't even know what we would do when I don't know what we're going to do when the robots rise up. But
Right. Well, I mean, it also really depends on the iteration of what are we talking about here. Are we talking about like the whole like disease-ridden body that just ends up being mindlessly running by parasitic like type stuff, or are we talking about like the idea of like zombies kind of being controlled by evil, like
yeah,
demons?
well, I mean,
and
there's
stuff
a
like
good argument to be made that we are in a zombie apocalypse now.
Oh yeah, no, I feel it's definitely it's not nearly as entertaining as advertised when we hear zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for like Shaun of the Dead. Like, can I put one in the shed and play games with it in the end? Like, I don't know, man.
Right? Can I put it on a
Yeah,
like a chain in my yard to keep
Right.
my neighbors out of my
I'm
yard?
just saying, like, this was not what
Right.
was advertised, but
Right. Well, that, but I live of the idea, the theory. Obviously, I can't prove it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the idea that even the AI is demonically influenced. Because that's, you created the devil's playground with technology because it's outside. It's like, okay, if I'm going to put on my evil hat for a second, and I'm going to say, all right, God created this earth. He put his children on this earth, right? He gave us this earth, all that stuff. How am I going to completely pervert it? Well, I'm going to get them addicted to a different reality to the point that now they want to upload, they want to trade off their soul, their consciousness into this false reality that they control. That's what to me that would I thoroughly believe that beast system technology is a playground for demons personally.
Oh, absolutely. Liz, I don't know how far in the woo you've gone with this, but there is an entire contingent that believes that there is like an and correct me if I'm wrong, Belushi, I know you're out there, Alara, you guys, that there is uh an archonic, like formed by the archons, like an evil AI from outside of our system that actually has gone from, and I don't know if it from universe to universe or from parallel world to parallel world. I mean, that has gone and tried to take over systems, right? System after system after system. And that here we actually have they're waiting on this mass coronal event that will deactivate this evil AI, right? Maybe through something like a Carrington event that would, put an end to this. But they really do believe that there is an actual uh, evil, archonic based AI system that supersedes even the AI that we have, that is influencing all of this stuff, that is trying to slowly take us over. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but this is actually a thing, right?
I mean, I've heard it to a point. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm fully educated on that specifically, but what I think about when it comes to stuff like that, it's like, if to make it simple, is man is building something that is creating the playground, whatever you call it, the environment of something to then come through, right? If
Right.
that's what we're talking about here, then
Basically,
what?
yes.
Right. Well, then yeah, and I know we can get into specifics, whether they're titled and how old they are, is it AI, like all that stuff. I feel like these labels, at least for me, it's like we're talking good versus evil. We're talking about demons because I've told situations before. I've seen pure evil in life, and it to me, it's like, okay, man is creating a gateway for them to connect with, interact with, and bring into this dimension through a medium that is technology. Then name it whatever you want when it comes to what that entity is. Like, I thoroughly believe that when it comes to evil, there's hierarchies, like demons, and then there's like levels of them to it. Like, like the lesser quality, well, you're muted, but the lesser the lesser quality ones are like possessing like Schiff and Pelosi right now, like that, like short stick type stuff. But like I look at this more as
They
a
sent the short bus demons in on
right.
us.
Right. You're welcome for anybody out there that's using short bus demons in your vernacular from
Right.
now on.
Hashtag
I got
short bus demons.
I
Right.
got raked over the coals on Twitter by people for me saying that, and
Oh my God.
I'm not sorry, but the
Sorry, not sorry. Right.
right, but I mean, like, that's why I kind of don't go too far into the actual like research and deep into the woo when it comes to like the names of these things and where did they come from and how does this all work, because to me it's like, all right, that's fine, but there's still like a simplistic to where like I'm like, all right, cool, I can't prove all that, but I
Right.
can prove that, or at least to me, I can agree that there's a medium being created for them
Absolutely.
to then work with the supernatural or whatever you want to call it, whatever.
I mean, good Lord. Even when you look at like I believe there's a veil that separates our dimension, our reality from the spirit realm, and it's getting very thin. And like, I mean, even when we look at things like Jack Parsons and the Babylon working out in the desert, that they cracked something open, that I mean, and the Bible talks about how things will come through the veil in those times. And I kind of feel like maybe that's where we're at. I know the veil is getting thin. I just know that personally from the crazy things that go on around me. But there's definitely been something open that is letting these things in. I feel like is for sure.
Right. I mean, well, you can do the same comparison to like seals in the Revelation, right?
Exactly.
Because it would be a veil lifting over time. I mean, we can all see it. Does life feel anywhere close to what it was 10 years ago?
Oh gosh,
Right.
man.
If you were to describe now to somebody 10 years ago and they were relative, you'd probably get a 5150. You probably would end up getting a few days of evaluation against your will. But now it's just like, come on now. They literally passively gave us a little short season, like a one episode of season 1 of Corona of murder hornets. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So if they had told, so that's what I'm getting at, is like it does feel ramping up, and you're just seeing evil be more pervasive, like just really going after it, which leads me to believe that they know their time is short with what they're doing. And this really comes down to the battle for souls. They got us so caught up in the who and like being upset about these things and specifics, and I'm cool with that. Like, so let's have those conversations, but we're talking in circles when it really comes down to when the line fully gets drawn. Which direction is the soul going?
Man, that right. That is the thing, and I think just like we're seeing the evil come out in people that were disposed towards evil, the good people are becoming more disposed towards the light as well. So it's not. I by all means, I don't think it's a hopeless case at all. You know, they, but I think we're going to see heavy division. Like we're already seeing heavy division, but heavy division where people are going to have to choose their soul side, man.
Right. I mean, and that to me, it's very like, think about, I mean, I grew up in church and there was always this talk about end times, right? And when you would imagine it to a point, it would just sound like, man, that's really going to be stressful times,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like they're like, oh, you're gonna have to get a mark to eat. Well, that means that there must be shortages. Like if you really play out what would create the environments where people all one and all have to get a mark, then that lead up to that sucks. Like
Man,
that's got to.
right.
So now, and once again, I'm not saying like we're gonna hear trumpets when the stream's over or whatever the case may be, but the idea that if that's going to be those times, and if you want to believe that you are meant for this moment in time, because think about like, let me ask you a question. It's your stream, but I'm going to ask.
Have at it.
Like, doesn't it feel like you being awake is even more than just your own like research and focus and time on it? It feels like there's more to it. Like it motivated you and opened your eyes
Have you
more.
never heard my man? Listen.
Right.
Most of the people watching this have probably heard this before, but I was a terrible person, right? I literally died. I had an attachment that something attached to me for so long that I didn't even know it was there. When I died, right? I was dead for 17 minutes. Done, dotted, dead. I went to a horrible place, right? I went to a void, like I don't even. I knew immediately that I had messed up. I was horrified, right? I knew that I was separate from where I was supposed to be. I was separate from everything. I was separate from the light. It was such a dark nothingness, but you knew that you were never going to that you were going to be conscious of this forever, and that you were just separate from the light, and that any solace, any belonging, you wanted nothing more than to take it all back in that moment, and I mean nothing more. I got pulled out of there. And the thing that was attached to me was pulled out of my spine, right, by Jesus. And I know this probably sounds fantastical, right? He pulled me out of there and told me it was going to be okay. And methods, from that minute, like from that very second, my entire perception was different. I changed everything. I walked away from everything I was doing that day. I left the city I was in. I changed my phone number. I changed the music I listened to, the people I was talking to, the platform that I used. I left everything and walked away. I could feel things. I was completely numb. And in that instant that thing was taken from me, I could feel everything again, right? And there was such a dichotomy. uh there was no other option for me, and that's how I ended up here. I mean, that's how I ended up doing this, that's how I ended up here, that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing. Like literally everything changed for me in an instant. So absolutely, I feel like I'm here for this moment. I can feel the divergence. I know I've chosen my side. uh I can feel all of that.
No, I mean, and you obviously, because some people go through things that are like, I don't want to say like extreme, but it's definitely like that's more of a like in your face, like a direct contact. Like I'm gonna work with you and get you on the right track and have you see things.
Yes,
And I definitely agree. So you can relate on the idea that if we're meant for this moment in time, then there's a plan for it that we
absolutely.
can't see yet, and maybe we're not supposed to.
Absolutely.
Maybe we need our faith tried during all this. And so talking to other people that haven't necessarily had that, I hate using the word extreme, that intense of a situation that you went through. Like I could speak from like my own experience, and maybe other people in the chat can relate to it. Is that there was a point during all this research and seeing things for what it is that it felt like it leveled up. Like I accidentally took too much of I took too big of a milligram of a red pill, and it just took me to another plane, using the drug reference. But just like it made it to where I could see things in a different way. It was like a different filter, or maybe a filter was taken off my eyes, and it
Yes.
felt supernatural. And since then I've kind of like, I've had to learn how to like look at things that way and take in more information about the world, because I didn't pay attention to anything. I didn't have TV or anything for over a decade in my 20s. throughout my 20s, and I never paid attention to pretty much anything. And then now it's like, as I understand society and like, how did we get here? Because when you take a 10-year away from society that's slow rolling itself into perversion and
Man.
evil, then you really are like, whoa, what happened to this planet?
Steamroller, not even really slow. I mean, it's
Right, right, but they have to do the slow roll. It went from us watching music videos on
Yes.
MTV to this is reality TV, and we just, by the way, we want to just get you all of y'all to act like whores.
Yeah, there
Like,
was
that's
definitely a delineated progression that happened for sure.
right. So I think God had me go through that journey, even though it was just like not watching cable, just not caring, and not being involved in the world to kind of see it for what it is. But what I'm getting at is that since we can see things for what it is, and we're still learning, we're not going to act like the end all be all, but we could see it for what it is in a different light and an understanding, and we consider things that's outside. And on top of that, just the overall feeling of wanting absolutely nothing to do with that reality that they're selling.
Nothing.
Not even a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
we want nothing to do with that stuff. Tell me that's not God intervention.
Absolutely.
Like, in your life.
You listen, 100%. Absolutely 100%. Absolutely, without a doubt, I see the working of the Lord in this life every day, and not just even with the people around me too. Like I feel like I can see the Lord working on people around me as well, which that's fantastic. He's got a plan for every single person watching this stream, every single person that's sitting at home. Now you've got to willingly accept the plan the Lord has put in your path, but we're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. I definitely believe that. Thank you, White Hat. Thank you, J Bell, for the gold pills, and Kaboomer, much love to you guys. Thank you. Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, I just want to tie a bow on that, because it's something that I think that a lot of people need to hear and drive home, like drive it home and get it. It's that if all that's in place, if you're having all this and there's no intention for your life to not only like do something with it as far as helping others, but to also do it and find a way to enjoy life. I've been talking about that recently on streams. Like, wouldn't God want his children who's going to go through all this to be able to still smile and enjoy life and have a good time and have that ability?
Yeah,
right.
There's beautiful all around us. Even in the collapse of things, there's beauty everywhere.
Right. So if you have right now, like, being grateful and just really just honored in the moment of being awake during all this, you could have been still down that path that I could have very well ended up being, in
methods. Hello?
Mic check 1 2.
Oh, there you are. I was like, oh boy, the Archons are at me again. They're coming for my stream, man. They don't like this.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes Zoom does that. But I'm just saying, like, it's how you look at it and how you can step back and appreciate it. Because I think we get so distracted with everything going on, and it's intentional to do that and tie us up in emotion.
Absolutely.
That you are not them. Not going through those things to where you're so caught up in, like, I have to have like these clothes or this many followers, or I have to know the lyrics to this album that just came out, or I got to go to Lollapalooza, or it's just amazing.
Right.
Just be grateful, right? Just having that moment of like, hey, I'm grateful that I am not that lost.
Absolutely. And if you are questioning, I pray for direction every day. As a matter of fact, the only two things I really pray for are direction and discernment. Like, show me where to go and don't let me get confused.
Right, because I mean, it's, if we're talking about propaganda and informational warfare, then by all means, it's going to cause it to where they're going to put landmines out there to distract you, cause you problems and see things wrong. And on top of that, invoke emotion, because if you're all like riddled with emotion and frustration, you're not going to make it's going to be harder to make a logical decision. or like you're going to act out of emotion, and then it just becomes like it's so easily manipulative. You can manipulate emotion. Why do you think that they were able to successfully sell the idea of mostly peaceful fires and looting?
Man, right.
Because racism is apparently everywhere,
Oh,
and it justifying it to some of the public.
standing in
That's what I'm
front
getting,
of a
emotion.
fire, like, this is fine. This is
Right,
fine.
because it's a summer of love. It's
Oh,
they're emotional over something that literally, like, I live in the South and I've met maybe 2 racists in my entire life
honest to
that
God.
I'm actually like, yeah, that's a racist, and that's fine. And I don't justify it, but once again, one, it's not a crime. Second of all, it's just somebody I don't hang out with. I don't keep
Right,
up with them.
right. You can choose to, yeah, yeah. I mean, those people, you know, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that prevalent of a situation, and I've always lived an extremely integrated life, so to speak. Uh, yeah, I don't know these, but they'll push that narrative for sure. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So we all have these beliefs. Thanks for the cookie, thick gray. What's up, Brad CGZ? So we've all got these beliefs, and a lot of us get very enmeshed in what we believe. Like this is the hill I'm gonna die on. But if we keep it 100, right? There's like zero chance that everything that we believe is absolutely true, right? So let me ask you this: which of your beliefs do you think are most likely to be wrong, and what of your beliefs do you think are most likely to be true?
Beliefs and stuff going on in like society and stuff, like when it
Um,
comes to, like, I'm trying to
like
understand the layer.
I don't know, your first concepts, like your prime concepts that define who you are. Like I just said, I lived crazy life, and there were a lot of things that I thought I was absolutely certain about, right? And we can even talk about society, right? Let's just go with society because it's a little bit easier sometimes than on the spot trying to think our personally held beliefs. But like, what do you think maybe that you believe about human society as a whole that is likely to be that you would think would be likely to be maybe untrue? And what's something that you believe about society as a whole that you are 100% convinced this is absolutely the truth?
Well, I mean, the first part of that, I'll answer the second because that's easier for me to answer. Is that what I believe in society that to be true is that despite everything going on right now, uh genuine good people that just want to either be left alone but will still help their neighbor out, or care for others in general, that want to be there for people, we are the majority. Like, we absolutely are.
I agree.
I just think that all the now, the reason why I say it's something, that's out there, that's, I it's worth pointing out, is that a lot of the gatekeeping of how we view what's going on in the world, uh mainstream media, entertainment, uh social media, all that stuff, it's going to highlight, and specifically it's geared that way now, to highlight those things that were to make the people that are in the minority, that just don't, like, they are their own god type stuff. It highlights it. It makes it better. It makes them it's just it makes us sick about it. I just think that we are the majority, and we're just not meant for this world, and we're trying to get through it. But
Uh-oh. Mic check.
Trump rallies, have we seen anything like that before?
Yeah, but I mean that was a phenomenon in and of itself, his rallies.
Right, am I still coming through?
Yeah, you're good now. It cut out for a second.
Right, yeah, good old Zoom. The that kind of representation you would think didn't exist at all if you were to watch anything else or watch any other social media, or like really focus. You wouldn't think that many people in a city would be like that. But then when you see them gathered, and it wasn't just about Trump, it was about what he was standing for, and the idea of being against all this evil.
Hmm.
I just, and that's, like I said, that's a small example, but I do believe that there's way more good than bad. on that. Now, as far as something that I don't,
Or even just something that you question, maybe that you think maybe I'm wrong on this position.
at this current moment,
Sure.
or
Or so, or
at
in the
this,
past, something in the whatever you think, whatever's easiest for you.
uh, I mean, I'd like to say, that I'll be wrong about it, like maybe like Durham or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
please, anytime, right?
right. I'd like to be wrong, but once I'm not hanging my hat on anything happening until I see it, just for the sake of I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I think something that I was wrong about
Hmm.
is how much evil is infiltrated, like how far along the timeline we are.
Man,
Because
right?
evil, like I think we really learned that over the last few years, because we just assume like there would be enough like good, like there would be enough good in the right places to help out and stop some certain things from happening, and we just watched evil outside of the good people do a free-for-all to the point where they were blatantly lying, setting people up, doing on like everything that they could to be manipulative, and then when they get called out, they were so smug about it that they would just degrade you. Kind of like when
Man, right?
like when Brian Stelter had to like own up to something, and like the Project Veritas reporter asked him questions and was calling him out on something, and the guy in the Stelter just looks at him and he goes, "I really just feel sorry for you." It's like that's that kind of like that
Hmm.
narcissist mentality. I didn't know that we were this infiltrated all the way down to the core. I knew that there was bad apples and everything. I mean, that's what evil does. It wants to be in these positions of power and where you trust people the most. But I did not know that it was that far until the last few years, and that's something that I was wrong about.
Good answer. Yeah, man, absolutely. Right. Uh, I think maybe before I kind of discredited these people, like, oh, they're dumbasses. What are they gonna do? That was definitely the wrong answer. I'm with you on that. Um, hmm. All right, let me ask you something a little more fun, right? Because we've been kind of serious now. I told you I was gonna ask you about clones methods. Tell me this: do you think you would be friends with a clone of yourself?
I don't know. I maybe because I would need them to do stuff, so I would like even if I didn't want to be friends with, like I didn't like its personality or something, like it was slightly different. Um, I would still benefit from them being my friend because then they would do stuff for me
So you would
under the guise.
manipulate the clone of yourself.
If I'd have to meet them. Like, I don't want to have to manipulate. How about that? Don't make me manipulate, but the card's on the table.
Right. Thanks for the can squirt, Brett. Yeah, I think I would hate a clone of myself personally. I'd be like, man, this chick is I can't deal with her. Like I'm personally convinced that's where I would be at with that.
I mean, are we talking like a clone that's like a bitch Stewie version that's like really dumbed down?
Now let's say it's a clone on par with you. Like
Oh,
what if it's like literally your mirror? Could you be friends with yourself? I mean, like
no,
with a
that
mirror of yourself?
I mean, unless we can like work together and stuff, then no, there can only be one,
Thank you. See, anytime I ask that, people are like, "Oh yeah, I would love it. I'd hang out." I'm like, "You're crazy."
right?
Right? I'm with you. There can only be
I,
one.
I don't even know why some of y'all like me, and then you're asking for
Aw.
me to look somebody in the face. Like, come on now.
Thanks for the gold pills, Neo. Thank you, CK Whitehorse, for the can. Much love, you guys. Yeah, I don't think I could deal with me, especially like, ooh, what if it's like on a daily basis? Like, what if I was just stuck in the same place with my clone? I think that'd be all bad, right? That would definitely be cage match, fight to the death.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And
yeah.
what like, but you could go like commit a crime and set them up
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I'd be like, oh, that was her for sure,
security camera.
right? For
Like, oh
sure,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Oh,
Absolutely.
I would set them up if they got in my way,
There you
hands down.
see, I'm with you on that. Let me ask you this, right? Um, if you were gonna get into a fight, right, would you rather have Rambo or the Terminator as your wingman, and why?
And why?
And why?
I mean, Terminator. If things go wrong, they could just go back and we could do it again. So that you kind of have that, you have that argument to be made that you have an endless loop of battle. Um, you know what I'm talking about? Like it's
Yeah,
like, oh, we're about to
yeah.
lose. Oh, let me go back and we'll just
Right.
do it again a different way.
I
Like,
got you next time, fool. Right.
right. Like just have Terminator just go back and keep
What
fixing
if
it
it
till
was
we get
just
it
one
right.
and done? Like just one and done. It's you and Terminator, or it's you and Rambo, and you're fighting. I don't know, your most evil nemesis. Who are you
Right.
going with?
Well, then probably Rambo because the movies didn't get shittier as they went on.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone was able to do that, right? Just like with Rocky. Like I could watch all of the Rockies. They did not get shittier either. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, so no,
Yeah.
it would if it's a one and done, then Rambo. But if it's like all the rules of what comes with these people, then yeah, Terminator. So yeah.
Hmm, good call. Good call. Um, what superpower would you not want to have?
Oh no.
Ah,
That's such a good question because I assumed you're going with what superpower you'd want.
yeah, no, see,
And
we switch it up here. We switch it up here.
what super like are we talking about like classical, like typical
Yeah,
superpower
like
stuff?
we're talking, yeah, like, like Marvel Universe. Like what superpower do you definitely don't want to have?
I mean, I think it would be fun in the beginning, but I think it would just get to the point to where I would get blackpilled. Is that be able to read people's minds?
Oh, see, I that's the one I like. I would never want to be telepathic like that.
I mean, to a point, it would be fun though, right? Because you could be like,
Maybe
"Oh,
at
this."
first.
Right. But then you get to the point where you're like hearing everybody's thoughts and like really getting into
Right?
it, and you're like, "Man, humans suck."
Yeah,
Like,
bruh. Right?
right,
Oh, I know that's the one I always think too. Like, yeah, telepathy is definitely out. Now, I could rock with like telekinesis. I could rock with like super speed or being able to fly. Like, I could do all that, right? But I definitely don't like. It's none of my business what people think about me, for real. I
right.
I try
Right.
to remind
No,
myself of that.
Brad out there, good to see you, buddy. Has a good. He said Rogue superpower. Rogue from X-Men, who would when she would touch people, people with superpowers, she would then take their power from them, but it would end up like almost killing them.
Yeah,
So
that
you
would
would
suck.
so you would have to end life to get it. But if we're talking about a world of superpowers, then you're just a serial killer.
Right, right. All right. Let me ask you this: if you could know like the absolute and total truth to one question, what would it be?
It's a one question.
One
Oh
question.
man.
You get the whole kit and caboodle. You get that download, and you know the absolute truth about one question. What would it be?
I mean, the joking answer is asking Trump tacos or wings. I mean, that's we
Right?
got
We
to
we
know
might be able to get an answer to that without the download, dude, if we try hard enough. Maybe.
we got the Flynn and Sidney Powell. We got them both to answer.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
It's
right.
doable.
We're coming for you, Trump. Probably an ultimate answer. I mean, meaning of life. I don't even think they. I think that's just kind of like a throw-in line into movies that they
Right.
just kind of need to have it. It's just kind of like, oh, let's make this sound human. Let's meaning of life. Answer to I'll say this because you're asking me off the top of my head. I would say, are there aliens? Just to go ahead and put it to bed.
There you
Like,
go.
because if it's it, cool. Now I know. Now I've got something to look into it more. If it's not true,
Do you
then
do you think it's
There's a lot of
possible that it's not true?
yeah. I think it's possible that it's not true. And the thing is, like, I'm cool with people believing that it is true, and I'm open minded to it. Don't get me wrong. But the people that get like aggressive about the
Oh,
answers,
super
like it.
amped.
So yeah, if I get the answer that aliens aren't true, and we know it, and it's verbatim, I am serving so much crow.
Crows
It's
of
gonna be
judgment
beautiful.
all around, right?
Right.
Right. I'm with you.
So
That's probably one of the beliefs that I would say is probably maybe likely to be untrue, something that I currently fully believe that I could see going sideways.
right, and that's what like to me, it's like it's. I'm cool with people believing in it, and I have an open mind to the idea of it. but it's not something that I'm just like, yeah, it's definitely true. Like as far as like when you hear like there's X amount of kinds of aliens and
Hmm.
stuff, and now they've got names. It's like, how the hell do you have these names? How do we all know this? Like I get so confused about it. But I'm like, all right, cool. So that's what that one would probably, for the sake of humanity, solve a lot of arguments,
Man, so many. Alora's having a heart attack right now. It's like,
right?
what? Right? You can bet you're gonna have to discuss this at some point on Wednesday, I'm sure.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, probably.
right? Um, hmm, that's a good answer. Good answer. Definitely wouldn't be the flat Earth thing. That drives me nuts. I wouldn't even want to know. Um,
Joseph Yanni over on YouTube says secret to creation.
ah,
I would like I am of the camp that believes that some things have been manipulated. I believe that there's a through line when it comes to like the Christian faith on how things got started, but obviously things have been manipulated over time.
yes.
I like that answer. And Joseph, you got more time than I did to answer. So or at to say that. So yeah, that's fine. If I had been given Yanni's amount of time, I would have been good.
That's all right. That's all right. That's a you have good answers, man. Good answers. Let me see. So here's a question for you. What do you think are like two questions that you could ask to get the most information about who a person truly is?
Two questions that would get
Yeah, like if
the
you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're like, man, and they'll answer any two questions you ask them, right? And you really want to know who this person is. What two questions are you going to ask them?
like in this current, like as of now, if I just met somebody right
Yes.
now on the street.
Hmm.
Uh
And they're just going to
uh
give you the truthful, honest answer.
um okay. Uh well, one obviously would be who's really the president, who won the 2020 election.
Right?
That's going to tell me so damn much about you off the jump.
Right? From the gate.
Um, right. So, who won the 2020 election? Who really won? Second question. I mean, really, I think asking any kind of question that's just kind of random. Like I know once again, I'm not bringing it back up, but like the tacos and wings stuff, because the reason why asking that kind of question is so fun is because you get to see how they react. You get their
Oh,
personality.
for sure.
What do you mean tacos and wings? And they kind of laugh it off and like, no, serious. I'm not really looking like I want to know the answer because then I know if I'm going to talk shit or not. But I want to know because how you answer, like when people, like for example, when I asked Frank that question on my show, he thought it out and asked questions, and then he talked about protein and like how the food worked. Like he really thought it out. And I was like, okay, this guy's a deep thinker. I could
Right.
have conversations with this guy. But if somebody's like wings and that's it, or tacos, and I'm like, well, why would you choose that? I like tacos. I'm like, all right, it's you were like talking to a plant, and I would know like so. That would probably be it.
Right? Well,
A dumb question.
right. I mean, for the record, for me, it's definitely tacos. And I find, uh, you can't really go wrong with like meat and lettuce and tomatoes. Like I'm Italian, so like tomatoes have to be in everything, right? So I'm
Right.
definitely rocking with tacos. Also, Mexican food and Italian food are very, very close. It's almost an interchangeable thing for me. So I'm definitely rocking with tacos, just for the
Right.
record.
Well, that's the two most DoorDash orders to the woodshed.
Ah,
So,
I have no doubt. I have
right.
no doubt, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole argument about it, just because we're already there, and outside of wings are an appetizer.
Yeah,
Nobody like
right. Right.
right. It's like it's the finger food at get-togethers and stuff like that. But like tacos, it's like it's taco night, and then all the
Yeah,
kids
it's
just
a whole thing. There's like,
right.
days devoted to like Taco Tuesday. It's like a day, it's a thing, right?
Right. And I don't care if somebody says Wings Wednesday, it's because they're recovering from such a delicious, they have to set the
Yeah,
bar low
right,
because
exactly.
it's already gonna suck. Your palate is already so pleased from the night before. Everything else is gonna be garbage. And so you just make Wings Wednesday because you just have to settle to get to Thursday.
Seems legit. Seems legit to
Right.
me, right?
Science.
G- Or so somehow we arrived back at tacos again. Well, duh. Right? What'd you think was gonna
Right.
happen here, right? Uh, okay. What's the most useless talent that you have?
Useless talent.
Yeah, useless talent.
Useless talent, or maybe it's something, I don't know. Useless talent that I have. Hmm. I don't know, because the longer that I'm quiet, the more it sounds like I think I'm
Ah.
awesome.
Can you,
All right.
you know, like I don't know, like I remember really random dumb shit that will never ever serve me in life, and I remember
I,
it all the time.
right. I mean, I think probably some, well, it might not be like a special talent or something, but I have a knack for like almost saying things that I know that's like an inside joke to me that I know that's not going to land, and I'm just ready to say it anyways. And I'd like, so let's rewind like 10 years ago methods. That was me. Like, let's say I got into a TV show, right? I was binging it. So there's inside jokes.
Right.
I would literally, like, if it applied in a room with people who watched it with me or have already seen it, it would have nailed it. It would have been a perfect comment. They would have got it. We all would have laughed or like whatever. Like, yeah, season 3, that was great. I love, like, that would have happened. But like, I had this knack for like just doing it to where it just sounded like I was just having like random Tourette's, like quoting something. And it's like, what kind of context is this? And I
Right.
would do it. And then I would
Who needs
realize,
context?
right, I would realize that there was no reason for that to come out of my mouth when I'm telling this person something. So yeah, probably useless callbacks. That would
That's what's
probably
up.
be it.
That's what's up. Right.
Yeah, weaponized truth just said
I
that
see.
my most useless one is live
Live
streaming. Thanks,
streaming.
buddy.
Right. Hey, it's an
Yikes.
art. It's an art, sir. It is an art. Right. Hmm. Hmm. If you could start a charity, right, what would it be for?
Hmm. A charity.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably, well, at this moment, because once again, fresh, and you have me answering on the fly. It would be recovering Northerners moving to the South to help
Ah.
understand like what's happening, because they're gonna, like, for example, our buddy Woke Societies is that he's moving down south,
Right.
and he's already sending me pictures of stuff like that say like y'all
Oh,
and
listen,
stuff.
I recently made I've recently also made the transition. I drag Alara along with my increases of redneckitude at every occasion, for sure.
Right. No, because doing these streams and stuff, there's people all over, and I'm not picking on all Northerners. Put your thumbs down. I'm not talking about everybody, but like when, like, I heard Pixels the other day on some stream, and he was trying to refer to something, and the only go to was rednecky. I was like, what do you mean rednecky? Like, what's the context of that? But so that's what I'm saying is like recovering from some of that like stuff that we would probably be like, oh, you're from the north. Helping you get over that when you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh, I
Kind of,
completely understand. I completely
yeah,
understand.
like a getaway to where there's like good southern cooking,
Oh,
you know what I mean,
right.
and hanging out by a bonfire and
Yes, just
like,
chilling, right?
right, like
Hmm.
if like you get slapped across the side of the face if you talk about the Yankees or
There you
like
go. There you go. Yeah, I
right.
could see it. I could see it. You know, like I'm not gonna lie. I've gone all the way uh into stereotypical Southern life. Like I literally live in the middle of nowhere. I've got a truck on 20s with mud grips at this point. Like this is where we're at. And I left a city. Like I was super cityfied. So
Right.
I had to go all the way to kind of be able to find my way, right? Super grateful
Right.
for the
No,
experience though.
at least just nailed it. At least Brown says Northerners Anonymous. That's what I mean.
That's a good call. Thanks for the
To,
cookie,
to
weaponized truth.
cope. Yeah.
Right? Good call. Good call. Um, hmm. So, do you think the perception of time is a gift or a curse?
I think it's a social construct.
Good answer. Good answer. I
I,
don't believe
I
in
mean,
time personally. Like I refuse to abide by it. I don't believe in it.
well, how do you herd people that they've manipulated to think that they are making decisions for themselves? How do you manipulate them unless you have like a some kind of structure of time that then organizes them to follow accordingly? Like, oh, the job is typically 9 to 5. That means that we can get everybody working during that time, which means that we can schedule school during that time, which means that we can teach the next generation and have them not be a part of like not being learning from their parents. And then they look to government for parental guidance, like those kind of things. Right. That's how I feel. Like, I just think, time is weaponized.
Man, for sure. And has bred slave mentality in the human population for sure. Like, I mean, there are people that are slaves to time all the time, wanting to know what time it is, what do they got to do next,
Right.
never enjoying the moment. Uh, it makes it very hard to appreciate, and I think that was part of their, their plan with giving us such a regimented schedule for things, especially in the Western world. I'm with you. I'm with you.
No, I mean, it's just like you've already got it down to then. Okay, well then you get paid X amount per hour for your job. Now you're being given the subconscious value
Yes.
for your existence for that 60 minutes.
Yeah, your worth is even defined. That's a
Right.
good point. That's a good point. Would you rather have a horribly corrupt government or no government at all?
I mean, you're asking me during like literally a corrupt government.
I know.
So, I mean, anything sounds better, but when you really think about it, if you step back and act out of like the immediate reaction to it, the no government at all, then you have no law, right?
No.
Because at least you get
No
some
recourse for
people.
redress of grievances, nothing.
Right. I mean, because then it's like you don't own your land at all, and nobody's going to come through and protect you of that. And I know once again, there's cases that it still happens to where they allow things to go on, but having not even the idea of consequences or structure, that to me is worse. Because if anything, I now know the devil. Like I know who's pulling the strings. I know I'm able to study them, understand them, see how they weaponize, how they manipulate, and I can plan accordingly. But now you're talking about the wild, wild west.
Right. Right.
Right.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think maybe sometimes I might even romanticize like anarchy, but ultimately, when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of the discussion, like you said, I mean, at least there's the idea of law or the idea of the way things should be, even if
Well,
everybody's not acting accordingly.
right. And I agree. And I know tyranny is just as bad. I mean, you're
Yes.
really asking a question on what's the most like of two evils. Look at what happened with
Which
the
bag of
chat.
shit do you want?
Right. Look
Right.
at what happened with the Chaz. They
Right.
took over a 6-block radius, and they already had a local rapper off of SoundCloud running it, handing guns to teenagers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
People dying in there, and it literally took them 6 weeks. No, was it even that long?
Oh
A few
God.
weeks?
Yeah, it was only a few weeks before it turned into total. Well, it wasn't even that long before it turned into total chaos. But yeah, there were several people that died in the Chaz
Right.
shop. Very quickly. Thank you, Christina Love, for the super chat on YouTube. Um,
So I don't know. I wouldn't know how to answer that at the end of the day because they both come with like evil rearing its head.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Great question though.
Yeah, oddly enough, I sit here and try to think of weird things to ask people.
I've listened to other shows that you've done, and then hearing these questions, I'm thoroughly impressed.
It's fun. Like, I mean, I could ask, how'd you get started? How'd you do this? How'd you, but I feel like this is, this gives everybody a chance to see a little bit more this way, even if it
Right.
feels like a total random, like totally random. I like it like
Well,
this.
well, just like I said, like asking with the stupid question to get to see somebody's answer like that. I can see why you do this. I like it. It's fun.
It's fun, right? Yeah, fun. Leaves you with this, hopefully with a smile. What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
Weirdest job
Yeah, I've had a crazy one. I worked at a voodoo shop in New Orleans when I was in college. That was weird. That
Well,
was
now I have
before
more.
my
I have more
awakening.
questions than answers though. Did you like actively seek them out and apply? Did you find them on like
Oh,
monster.com, or like did you know somebody?
I was DJing at a goth industrial club on Decatur, right? And I actually ended up DJing the Anne Rice, the Vampire Ball during Halloween down there, and I had met some people. And it turns out the guy that owns Marie Laveau's and Reverend Zombies, the two voodoo shops in the quarter, and these are highly touristy places, right? I mean, but the dude, his mother was actually like a shaman of the Yanomamo tribe. Like he had some legit ties, right? But he's owned these voodoo stores for the longest, and my roommate was working for him, and I had met her through the DJing, and then I ended up working at the voodoo stores. It was a crazy time. Crazy
Right.
time. There was the energy was crazy in the city itself, but I mean, it was some crazy energy. I mean, at the time, I was very like young and just I was numb. I told you I had that thing attached to me for I couldn't tell you how long, and I felt drawn to the place. Uh, but that was definitely the weirdest job I ever had.
And thank you for elaborating. It's like how does one fall into like
Right?
I was curious, so thank you. Um, I don't know. And first of all, Patriot Corp's out in the chat says agent is listening. My agent's listening right now. Yeah.
Ah.
Like what kind of job has he had? Uh, well, I probably have had other ones that I'm not thinking of at the moment, but one that I technically got hired, but once I learned what it was, I made it all of 45 minutes and left. So technically I worked it. Like when you find jobs on like Craigslist and stuff. I was younger. I was just looking for a gig,
Right.
something to do. And it was a job. It was like $10 an hour, something like that. $10 an hour. You only worked, or it might have been more than that, but all you had to do was ride and help and do some like extra lawn care cleanup. But it was basically talking about basically people would hire to like come clean up, and I was like, oh, okay, just kind of like clean up a yard or something. If it's just like they're prepping it to sell or something, like that's what I thought, right? And I get there, and it doesn't have any other detail than this. So I get there and meet up with the dude, and you're supposed to ride with him. And literally, the gig, seriously, this was the guy's gig, was going to people's yards and like just to clean up the dog shit.
I don't think I'd have
Like,
lasted long either.
and I don't know this until I'm there and I'm in the car with the
Yeah,
dude.
that's kind of deceptive. That's deceptive
Right.
advertising, man. Like you got to
Yeah.
put that out there. That's like
Yeah. So I have this moment because you know me, curious in nature. I'm like, all right, instead of telling him to turn the damn car around, I'm done. I'm not doing this. Because I'm thinking about like you're dealing with dogs and like, what if they don't have them locked up and like all on top of that, it's cleaning dog shit out the yard. Uh, I I decided I was like, all right, well, we'll go to this first spot and we'll hear his spiel. Like, how does one train to do this? I was quite curious. I was like, how's this guy going to go about this? And we get there and he just starts talking, like he literally starts talking as if like, how like when people explain how to mow a yard to where like you get like the diagonals and
yeah,
squares and stuff
right.
like that.
Hmm.
Like that he literally had like a way he went about like canvassing the yard to make sure that you nailed it
It's like he was like
100%.
working it out in a grid pattern or what.
Right.
He had a whole
Right.
plan.
And then how to deal with the dogs if they were there. Like it
Oh
was
my
so
goodness.
amazing. And after that one house, I was like, hey, buddy, I just want to let you know, like, this ain't happening. And he's like, oh, okay, it's not for everybody. I was like, well, no
Like
wonder
I'm
you
out.
don't put it in. Yeah, right. But I at least got now, granted, there are $1 million industries that do this. People like
Oh,
you
for
got because
sure.
dude was only charging like $30 a yard per week, like for the yard to do that to these houses that had like 5 and 6
Oh
dogs.
hell no.
Right. He was really lowballing, I guess, the situation. But yeah, that was it. And I worked at 30 minutes.
Good answer. Good answer. That's crazy. Yeah, that's
Right.
definitely yeah, I don't know if I'd have had the curiosity to get in the truck or not, like or not to tell him not to turn around. I'd have been like, "Listen, bro. Like you should have told me that." I don't
Well, I mean,
know.
I saw in the back of his truck, I saw like rakes, trash bags. He had a tub, and I was like, oh, he's got a bunch of other things. Like, I didn't know that the tub was literally for him to take the shit with him.
Yeah, he's got to take it. Put it where? Like, what do you do with it? Like,
right. And he was like, no, because once I'm letting him give the spiel, and he's like, and I'll tell you which areas where they don't search, where you drop off this waste. It's not a big deal. Like, he had this whole, like, oh yeah, it was completely this thing that I was kind of just like curiously invested, but I wasn't going to make it longer than that one place. Yeah.
Right. Like, you could have told me that in the parking lot, Cuddy. What?
Right.
What do you mean?
I imagine that he had been putting it in like the description, and like no one was calling.
Probably.
It's like, let me take a few words out, and we'll just see what happens. But
that's crazy. All right, couple more questions. I won't keep you all night. I know you're a busy guy, but
you're fine.
Would you rather lose your vision or your hearing if you had to choose one?
Vision or hearing?
Yeah.
I know. Probably. Well, I don't know. If you can see, you can take in everything. Now, am I losing this in real time? Like I had it before?
Yeah, like you
like
had
one
it
or the
and,
other.
Yeah, you had it, and you were about to take a loss, and it was either going to be your vision or your hearing, and you had to choose. What are you going with?
Well, then I would probably say hearing, because I can visually catch up. Like I can still read what happens. I can see things for what it is and all that. But with no vision, like, and I know there's going to be an argument. Belushi, go. I know what you're saying. Like, well, that just means that your senses heighten up, and then all this, like cool. But and that's fine. More power to you. But like the idea of not being able, like, you're just in darkness, then you can't really go anywhere. Now you're trying to interpret the sounds you're hearing. I'd much rather be able to see it and decide without that's what I'm saying.
I think so too.
Right.
I think so too. Yeah. Would you rather always say everything on your mind, like you had no control over it, it just came out, or never speak again?
I mean, that's literally the description of my morning show.
Right? Like thought vomit.
Right. I'd much rather, for me to say I'm good with not ever talking again, nobody would buy that. I would probably be okay with the no filter, because then I can like wear a sign or something. Like, hey, button.
Like warning. Right.
Right. Like get some kind of like certificate that says this is the case. Like he just can't. And then I'd still be able, and on top of that though, if everybody accepts that I'm that way, then I literally get away with so much more shit.
Right.
Like, yeah, be able to say so much more.
Right,
that would be cool.
Like, you knew what it was when you walked up to me, man. What am I supposed to do? Always in Texas says never speak. Alara says never speak. Right? Yeah, I think that's a tough one. See, I think I would have to go with never speak. Like I could write down what I needed to communicate. But if it was just constant thought vomit, man, I'd end up by myself somewhere for sure, in a cave. People would be like, this chick is crazy.
No, but tell me that you aren't just completely meant for a podcast.
Do you think? I don't know. I'm comfortable with it. Like I'll get on here and just talk about any damn thing. I like it. I do. But if it was like constant, like I'm talking to, like, I don't know. Do you think that it'll be okay if I look fat in this? Should I, like family? Imagine interacting with your family, like, and not being able to stop yourself at all ever. Like that might end badly.
Oh, you're talking about like all the way down to
yes, like period in life. Like it's just, that's it. Everything comes out.
Like, ooh, chair, I need to sit there. That's the food I need to eat. Hey, look,
fork. All your internal monologue has now become externalized. Like at all times.
I have a feeling that some people would love the inner monologue, because I promise you it's chaos, and one could argue that it might be worthy for people to want to take in at times, because it would be so stupid you will feel better about yourself.
You could definitely probably make an interesting place in the world like that.
Right.
You know,
So I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna say yeah. Like it's saying nothing.
right.
Come on now. Like I get it. Like okay, yeah, I can like go up on some like mountain and think a bunch and find clarity. To be a monk. I don't know,
Right.
maybe, but
Take me
I
to the
don't know.
Shaolin Temple, sir.
Right, but then like you'd be sitting there and like in your head, like somebody's just saying something so stupid, and you're just like, oh man, there's such a good punchline, and I can't ever say it in ever again. Come on now.
Yeah, but what if you had to say it every time, all the time? Like even in the worst, like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I could see it either way. I could see it either way, maybe.
I, I
Uh,
mean, I'm good. I'm good with the consequences of it. Like
that's really the
I'm
question,
good
isn't
with
it?
it. Right.
Can you live with the
I
consequences?
Yeah, but you're talking to somebody who is like, yeah, I'm thinking about my inner monologue, and I'm like, cool, like it's fine. I'm good with it.
Right? Yeah, most of the time I say whatever I'm thinking anyway. Uh,
Right.
90% of the time. Thank you, Share
You're
Within.
so you're asking for that 10%.
Right.
That 10% of it. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't say that moment.
Man, because there are some times when I'm like, ooh, that could have went really bad. Like I almost said that shit too. Almost. Like
Right.
that could have ended really badly.
I mean, I'm sure I'd find love out there, people that would
Yeah.
enjoy it and be cool with it. Yeah. I'm not mute. I'm not
Final
doing that.
answer, right?
Yeah. Final answer.
Final answer. All right, all right. Let me see. Are we in the Matrix?
As in everything is programmed.
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't think that we're. I mean, it depends on how you describe it, right?
Yeah, we could.
Like,
Do you think we're actually in the Matrix, or do you think we're in some sort of a mental matrix? Like, well, I mean, I think we're definitely in some sort of societally established matrix for sure. But
yeah.
what are your thoughts on, I mean, are we actually in the matrix?
Oh, as in like we're gonna. Well, it depends on what we're waking up to. If we leave the matrix, is
Hmm.
it then going to be heaven? Because I mean, then that falls in line with how I my faith. I don't. I feel like the closest that I can come to what they made a fictional movie over, where it was fiction as a movie, it's a lot more truth in it if you just look at it that way. Like once again, like we talked about time and how they control us through it. Well, they manipulate us through it, right? It's a program. Time, the clock is a program as far as a 24-hour cycle. It's a program. It's just how you look at it that way. Yeah, I would say that we're closer to that movie than anything, but I don't feel like um our world is entirely like at some point it's all gonna just melt away. And I don't know. It's hard to explain. But yeah, I to a point, yes.
Hmm. I mean, do you have thoughts on like actual simulation theory? Like, there are a lot of people making a lot, not that I'm sitting here like that they have all the answers, but we live in a holographic universe, that there's a possibility that we are not in the base reality, that I mean, maybe we're in a very carefully curated or maybe not so carefully curated simulated reality. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that it's more just our own perception that's been so misconstrued that you could consider it a simulation, right? Our society is a simulation because somebody's pulling the strings and programming it. But as far as that goes past that, that's where I'm just like, is the aliens real? Are they not? Like that's where I'm like, I leave it on that shelf, and I'm like, maybe
Right.
until I see more, or if like Grimmy like glitches passes by my doorway twice, then I'll be like, okay, then maybe. But for now,
Well, okay, and let me kind of back not to the aliens specifically, but like, what is your favorite conspiracy theory? Like, not political related. Well, I guess it could be. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? Do you have one? And I mean, is there one that you absolutely believe?
are we talking about one that would be considered like more extreme?
Anything.
Um, like as far as like public opinion. Well, I've answered this question recently. Me being Mike Pence was my favorite.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. You did. You did.
right.
Matter of fact, that's
So
where I heard the Bigfoot. methods conspiracy. I mean, is
Right.
there, I mean, like, I'm down with the whole lizard people thing. Like, I think that this is entirely possible. That, and be they lizards or, demons that look like lizards, I think that the people in charge could very possibly be lizard people.
I put it this way, I only subscribe to that because that would be awesome and would make sense with this
Wouldn't it
timeline.
make perfect sense?
Right. I
Oh, it
mean,
would make so much sense.
right. So yeah, I would probably say like if we had shape shifting reptilians running everything and we actually get that moment to where like we
Man.
just see like that one to me, like put it
Like
this
they
way.
live, like,
Right. Right. Exactly. Like they
yeah.
accidentally or something happens and they get like scared real quick and they accidentally like shift out of their
Wouldn't that be
skin
some
and they
shit?
just yeah, I would love it. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong on that. But as far as like the clone, I would probably say one that is too far, even though like I always ask for it, is the cloning because I imagine they work on it. I know now my email is gonna get flooded.
Ha.
Belushi1 at
Belushi one.
protonmail.com.
That's right, guys.
Thank
Any
you.
questions, complaints? Belushi
Right.
one, right?
Yeah, because it's I understand, put it this way. I know they want to do it. I know they want to clone people, but then we're talking about what's running it. Are we talking about like now they're just making shells of people and putting AI and tech in it? Then all right, then now you just got a human drone.
Right.
It's not a clone to me. We're talking about a clone that has something driving it, being able to go. So I don't know, because if anything, then you're just creating like LARP suits for demons. I don't know. So
LARP suits for demons. That sounds about right, sir.
So
Sounds
yeah, I
about
don't
right.
know. I don't know. That one to me, it's just like it might be a little too far. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it's not true. And yeah, another new favorite one that I actually heard on, I think on a call in, is that I am actually X22 reports. I'm
Oh,
Dave's son. Like
wow.
that. Like somebody has already put us in like which I told them that was such a dumb conspiracy theory to put out there, is he literally called me M3thods. And you think that he would call his son the wrong name on accident?
Maybe he did it on purpose to pretend like it was on accident, just to throw everybody off the track.
I mean, that's fine. You literally have foil in your name. I'm going to let that go.
Right? I mean, come on, sir. What'd you think was going to happen here?
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's all right. All right. All right. All right. Well, I'll ask one more question and then I will we'll do our goodbyes to this lovely crew of people here. Um, can we have happiness without sadness?
On this earth, like as of
Yes,
now, I mean, I guess not, because you would have to be able to compare it,
you would think,
right?
right?
It would have to, because if anything, one just becomes the entire thing.
It's
So I
it's
don't
funny
know.
that most people realize that, but they spend a large part of their time trying to alleviate even the potential for sadness or pain,
Right.
instead of just accepting and working through.
Right. I think that you can't respect and appreciate happiness without going through sadness. So I don't even know if it's possible.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'm with you. I'm actually with you on that. I don't think I'd want to live in a world where we didn't have that basis for comparison. Like,
Right.
you know, I don't think that's even feasible. I don't know that that would be a good place. I think you'd be just as numb there as I was where I was before this happened to me. You know, just something I ponder on sometimes. Well, you got any last words for the peeps? Anything you want to tell the masses, sir?
I mean, everybody already knows what.
I
Well,
know.
shout out to the people at YouTube, but we got our whole fam here over on the Foxhole that I'm saying. Thank you guys for being here with us. Thank you for hanging out, coming over, and all that. Shout out to Loyal to the Foil. Thank you so much.
Whoop,
This
whoop.
is arguably one of my favorite being interviewed
Yay!
that I've done.
Hooray!
I mean, because like you said, like I don't mind being asked questions, and I get the stigma of, okay, well, we need to interview, so you got to ask background. I do it on my show,
Right.
but the way of going about it this way, I feel like you could still learn enough about people, like you said.
Oh,
So,
I feel like
uh,
I've learned a great deal about you.
right, no joke, and I'm sure that there's probably like 15 brand new fresh memes being made about it in the
Oh,
process.
in the
which
factory right now.
right, which is completely fine. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, for anybody that hadn't heard me in a while because of YouTube, just go to the Foxhole.app. I help work on that. It's a streaming place, but you can go there and just scroll down the methods. You'll find all the links for me there, and you'll be able to check out a cool app. That there's a lot of awesome people over there having a good time and being awesome. But yeah, outside of that, I really don't have much else to plug. But just thank you so much for asking me to come on.
No, it was so great having you here. Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, listen, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't gone to pill.net and you haven't gotten the Foxhole, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But get on that, guys. Get on that. There's a couple of holdouts over there still that I keep trying to tell them. Guys, I did release the scratching on Foxhole. Get your gold pills. For everybody that donated, much love, thank you. If you like my content and want to continue to support, you can do so at loyal2thefoil.com directly or my Cash App, which should be in the description below on the YouTube channel. Friday, you already know what it is. Conspiracy theory trivia with my dude Tyler Koala at 8 p.m. And we are now doing Conspiracy Couch once a week. This week we're going to be talking about NASA. That's on 1 Foot and 5D with my wingman Alara of Sirius. So shout out, make sure you go check that out. So until next time, guys, stay loyal and much love. Well, they can still hear us, sir, but you know I like to do these hot mic takes. I appreciate you coming to hang.
And I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this was great. I've been looking forward to this. I know, Alara was amped helping me out with the woodshed in the background.
No, I'm glad that we that's became a part of this community. Is like having fun with things like that because we need to be having fun.
Oh, people are dedicated. Like and there are people like even when they're at work, they're on the Foxhole. They're hopping between the channels. They try to go show love on all the channels. Like they're there, and it's giving them a sense of community that maybe they didn't even know that they needed or didn't have before. I think it's been a really great thing.
Oh, exactly. Like for example, we have our own language. There's now 4 people that got Belushi'd
right
over on the Foxhole. Better luck next time.